Hello and welcome to a town called Bastard. This is him, Neill, and we are playing Crusader Kings II, and we are still on the pursuit of trying to get House Karling, my dynasty, back onto the throne of a kingdom in Western Europe. At the moment this is looking like Castile still. However, I might also gain a lot of land in Andalusia at the moment because this crusade is going well. I won't become king, but I'll gain a lot of land, so hopefully my son, if he inherits bits of Castile and Leon, he'll own this land as well, and he'll be able to create the kingdom, should he want to. He might not want to. Anyway, let's press on with this crusade. The problem with creating multiple kingdoms is if you have a Galvokine succession, they will be split out. So you can't. There is a way of destroying titles. So if I have multiple titles of the same type, you can do this destroy thing. You can't do it to your primary title. But more importantly, you can't do it if you have Galvokine succession, which I currently have. So you have to change out of Galvokine and then destroy them. So what I might do if I inherit Castile is set it to set all the titles to elective and then destroy one. That way there's just one title. Bit risky because my vassals might not like me, especially as they're going to be all Spanish of various types, and I'll be French. But we'll see how we get on. Might leave it Galvokine. Might even try to go the other route of pushing up Crown Authority to high, making primogeniture very difficult. Ooh, that's a nice trait, Architect. She is a wonderful wife, this Gontroda, the Lionheart of Castile. Architect, brilliant strategy. Lisp. As you can see, they have a slightly different crowns for this graphics pack. Thank you, because they're Spanish. She's a despised aristocrat. Harsh. She's built a great tower. Good business contacts. She owes money. I don't know why she owes. She's actually in quite a lot of debt. The game doesn't really represent being in debt as nicely as it could. You start getting bad things happening to your capital. Lots of bad things, as you can see. But your vassals keep liking you, even though you're not paying your troops and things. So I think that there's some mods add opinion penalties as you get more and more in debt. A similar thing actually applies to Muslim realms. As they become more and more decadent, the vassals don't really dislike them more. I mean, this is a bad example, as they don't like him. But, oh dear. Count Fook's claim on Burgundy. I don't want that to happen. I want to become Duchess of Burgundy. I don't want to become Duchess of Burgundy. I want my grandson to become Duke of Burgundy. Should be alright, except that the Holy Roman Empire is about to march in and crush their troops. That's a bit of a pain. When this crusade is over, I'm going to march right back and help my daughter-in-law. Alliances are only done by marriages. I can't actually, normally, if I wasn't having this weird thing where I'm at war with everyone, I normally wouldn't be able to help, because just being in a betrothal doesn't count as an alliance, which seems a bit peculiar, but I suppose it's to prevent you gaming the system of betrothing and then breaking and so forth. It's a shame there aren't other kinds of alliances that form. The game did actually add other relationships, like friends and rivals and things like that. Mainly for modders to take advantage of, especially for things like the Game of Thrones mod. But it would be nice if you could become friends with people, especially you could tie it into all kinds of things, like are you in the Crusades together? Are you fighting a war together? And things like that. It'd be quite nice. There are lots of ways to become friends with someone. And then you could get sort of alliances through that. This crusade is going remarkably well, this one. The Crusades normally do target Jerusalem with high priority. Jerusalem has a lot higher priority, but there's a chance of targeting other ones, especially as Muslims start encroaching. If Muslims start getting into sort of France or Germany, or even other pagans or something, Crusades target those in preference, because it's nice to have Jerusalem. It's much more important to have Europe. So I'm actually slightly surprised that Andalusia was called, because there's not a lot of stuff actually. There's quite a good Christian reclamation going on here, Reconquista. Pity. A nice thing actually, I've just realised, my son should inherit a strong claim of the Kingdom of Galicia. So hopefully I can press that against Galicia and gain Galicia as well. That'd be a nice present. And we have won. And the Lord has granted King Herbert of Castile victory in the Crusade for Andalusia against Sultan Ureg of Almorid Sultanate. Pope Simplicius II has called for a month of celebration across the entire Christian world. Isn't that wonderful? So I paused it, I've had these things pop up. I can usurp titles, the Emirate of Seville. Do I want to do that? Yes, of course I want to do that. Silly question. Usurp that emirate. Which is now a duchy. I can ask for help managing my titles. I'm not doing that because the Chancellor decides how to do things. I can do this demand succession by primogeniture. I'm tempted to do that. Although I no longer find myself caring quite as much about France. So go for it. Just do whatever you want with it. That stupid succession systems you've got going. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to march my troops back in preparation of killing those Burgundian traitors. I have a lot of land though. You may know there's 29 out of 6 holdings. Lots of stuff. I will try to get down to 7 capitals, and then I might try to up my centralisation. Because I shouldn't need 18 vassals. There's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 provinces, so I shouldn't need that. I'm just going to create a bunch of stuff. Each bishop I create gets me another 25 piety, so if you watch the piety in the top right, that should start climbing. So I create all these. I'm going to create all the bishops myself. In fact, actually I'll just count it. I have 2 in France. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I'm going to holy war over here. I'm just going to create the bishoprics and the baronies. And the reason for that is I want any of my vassals who I grant a county to, I want them to create the cities so that they gain more tax, so they become slightly stronger. So they can upgrade their baronies better and they get more troops. Because when you create a vassal, they get an opinion bonus with you because you grant them a barony. So I'm just going to let my vassals create the cities so they get more tax. Thinking about it, I'm probably going to holy war for Cordoba immediately afterwards, which means I'm going to holy war this guy. It's actually quite powerful, the Abbadids. 5k troops. I can get 6k troops. I don't get many allies in it. I might leave that for a bit, but eventually I'm going to try and take that land because I want Cordoba as the capital. Apologies if you can hear some grunting and groaning in the background. As with the previous episode, I have a ho-host today, a small dog called Tiamat. She is very enthusiastic, as you can hear. Mainly enthusiastic because I'm letting her sit near me on a royal blue couch, royal blue of France. So she'll be making some interesting and insightful commentary along the way. So I can hold 6 provinces. Let's say I can hold 7. So I'm going to pass that centralisation now. And I have 2 in France. Don't know if I'm going to care for these much longer though, because Amiens might be revoked by the next king if I'm unlucky. That's my only other province. I think it's just Amiens and Anjou. I'll keep Anjou, because I'm Duke of Anjou. I'll give away Amiens. So I'll find someone who I can give Amiens to. I could give it to my son, but the AI always does stupid things. So I'll find a distant dynast, ideally. Someone who has no claims, is of my dynasty. And the reason I do that is people of the same dynasty like you slightly more, only by 5 more. If you know, it's a little. All helps. I think I married off everyone, off other people. Ooh, I can some more off. So I don't have anyone in my dynasty. So I'm going to go to this find character screen. And in here you can search for all kinds of people with all kinds of traits. And I'm going to search for men, actually, who are of my religion, which means they're Catholics, not just Christians. My culture, which means they're French. They should be adults, so I can give them land. I don't want them to be of a great house, because I don't want the risk of them losing it and getting when they die, they're getting inherited by another family. I don't want them to be a ruler already. So that narrows it down a bit. This gets me this lot. Now, thinking about this, how much land is there around here? It's quite a bit. If I was in the long term, I might try to create a merchant republic around here, but Valencia's better, as would be Tangier or Algarve as their coastal places. So I'm just going to find someone who likes me. I'd preferably like to find someone who's content, because they're less likely to rebel, and if they educate their child, they might be more likely to become content. So ideally someone who's content. Or failing that, just someone who's fantastic, like my marshal. He likes me a lot, he's a good sort. Seems vaguely appropriate that I would make him something important. I actually quite like a better chancellor though. So I might try to find a really good Chancellor. There is no really good Chancellor in my realm. Screw that. My Marshal, you've been good. I'll give you a county. And as I said, I can hold 7 in a moment when that updates. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I need to give one of these away. The weakest one is probably here. Let's go with here. Aracena. Yeah, you can have Aracena. I want to keep it the best place for myself. So you can become Count of Aracena. I grant you Aracena for your great work, my Marshal. And I can no longer appoint him as my Marshal, apparently. He's gone. Maybe he'll reappear in a moment. In the meantime, I might actually want to appoint my son anyway. Yes, I want to appoint my son. Gain that Marshal. Excellent. So, for his service, he is no longer my Marshal, but he is now a Count. He's probably quite grateful for that. Only a bit. Only likes me 60 more. He now wants Seville. God, it's amazing. You grant something, and then they become envious for the things you have. Almost like real life. So, having granted that, that should be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that should be enough stuff. So I'm just going to give out all these lesser titles. And hopefully I should hit my domain limit. It should be fine. I'm still at war with everyone. As you may remember from last time, there was a bug, which means I'm now at war with pretty much everyone. This has got me down to 9. Where are my other places? Barony of Arcos. Okay, we'll take that away. I might have miscounted quite badly here. That's 8. Are there more provinces here than I thought? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 8 up there. Right, so I need to give away Neill as well. Or La Mancha. I'll keep La Mancha because I want to become Duke of Cordoba, which is that stretch. You gain more troops from your de jure places, and as I'll be the Duke of Cordoba, I'll gain more troops, so I'll keep that. So I'll give away Neill. Neill is a coastal place which is slightly better for tax. You can get ports there and things, and trade posts. Trade posts, incidentally, we go into the Republic trade zones, we can see them all over here. Any place which has a trade post attached to it increases the value of the of all cities in it. So that increases the value, 40% extra profit for all cities in there. So if there was a trade post over here, it would give me money, but there's not anyway. So I'm going to give Neill away. I may not be able to give Neill away at the moment because it's technically under siege, so I'll just advance by a single day, and the siege has remained because I'm still at war with everyone. Well, that's not irritating in the slightest. I may not be able to give that land away. It's quite a tiresome bug, as you may have guessed. Can I give away Neill? You can't normally give away titles which are at war. No, I can't give it away. So I'm just going to keep it and suffer the penalties and hope that this bug eventually stops when this war with the Roman Empire goes away. It's a similar kind of thing. If you inherit as a child and you get a regent and you have terrible stats, the AI will give away titles when the AI happens to the AI, and it will tell you to give away titles if you don't have enough stewardship. But obviously if you're a 1-year-old child or you have a crap regent, you have very little stewardship, so I normally wait until I become an adult and give it away properly. Now let's see, can I create or serve any other duchies? It's only Seville. There's other places I just have a county here and there. So it's just Seville. Let's go for Anjou, Seville, Berry, and I'm King of Castile. Yeah, why not? These are going to suffer recently conquered administration penalties for conquered for 10 years because I won it in a crusade, and new administration for 26 years. Horrendous. Because of the new administration, quite bad. That's to prevent you from winning crusade and then having lots and lots and lots of stuff right off the back. Yes. On the other side, if I was to change to elective right now, I have a few counts who like me quite a bit, so I could probably get away with it. But I'm quite young yet, so I've still got lots of time. I'll keep it going for now. Anything else I can do with the prisoners? This is a nice screen. You can either release, ransom, or execute them straight off the bat. Executing them doesn't really do much when they're heathens. I can't ransom them. No one will pay me any money for them. And I can release them, which will make them like me more, but that's about it. I don't really have any incentive to do that, so I'm not going to. So I'm just going to keep marching my troops back. How is this war going? Well, it's in favour of the Duchess of Burgundy, presuming because she still holds the land, whereas the Holy Roman Empire, the Kaiser, kept killing the rebels. So I want to carefully march my troops back and wait for this silly bug to end. I think France is definitely losing this war against Ypres. But please lose this battle just so the war can be finally over. Oh no, something happened. We imprisoned Matthias Salian. Ugh, his heir. That's a pain. This war might last for some time. And with the war, the bug. I don't even know if the bug will end with the end of the war. I really hope it does. I should be able to just get a straight line now to get to Nevers. Be helpful. And I can press a weak claim on Lusignan for someone. Don't really care about that, so I won't do it. I hope the Kaiser's troops does not return this way. So I'm just going to keep going with this. Right, so whilst I'm hostile to everyone, I am not besieging, so not only am I not getting benefits, so I'm getting no benefits and some penalties from this silliness. I'm going to kill their troops though, because I should be able to at least kill their troops. There we go. Hopefully I'll kill their troops and make the Duke of Burgundy have Duchess of Burgundy have a much easier time. Granada has already converted. That's spectacular. But it actually reminds me, I should send my bishops to convert over here. So I think I'll get them to convert Seville. These are all various forms of different religions here. They're still under siege due to the bug, but I can't get any income from them anyway, so I'm not massively concerned. I accidentally killed the Duchess of Burgundy's troops as well. It's not so good. My vassals are going to start disliking me soon. They didn't mind it so much before when I was in a crusade, but right now they're not a fan. I'm just going to keep my troops out of the way of the Holy Roman Empire though. They better not try and besiege more of my provinces. They probably will, just to be annoying. And I'm being invited to an office. Again, I do not care about. Oof. And them and their silly factions. When will they learn? It is one of those things about the factions that when they were first introduced, they were far too difficult to just get factions all the time. Not in a like you could manage them. They weren't terrible, but they just made it a bit unfun, and they weren't satisfying to use. They felt a bit gamey. Now they're really easy to manipulate. A bit too easy, arguably. I think I prefer it this way, but it'd be nice if there's a bit more challenge to them. Especially when you're a large king, because you have so much power. Your vassals rarely get a chance to do much in terms of competing with you. Succession now often feels quite easy. It used to feel punishing, which was also the wrong way around, but it has improved though, despite the fact that it is not perfect, obviously. Lots of the time I'll talk about problems with this game. And I don't want you to get the wrong impression, it is a fantastic game. I am talking after having played it for 4 figures in terms of number of hours. And I'm still playing it, and I'm still playing it enough to record something of it. So it can't be that bad. These are the minor gripes of a dedicated player rather than the gripes of someone who hates the game. which I think is a good sign that I've been playing this long, and I still only have minor gripes really. It's also just occurred to me, all these messages we get do get a bit of localization for it, because he's calling me a king because I am a king. So there's lots of those things. There's also kind of variations. They'll call you your majesty rather than other sort of modes of address. They'll address you by the gender, your rank, by the title you have, by the sort of title tier you have. It's a sort of nice features to it. I'm actually quite a powerful landowner now within France, but this is another example of how nice it would be if land split out, because it doesn't really seem right in some respects that I, as the Duke, won this land, and that it's becoming under France. So it'd be nice if I won this land and this land was independent, was mine on my own rights, so I was the Duke of Anjou, and separately I was the independent Duke of Seville. But it's also, with regards to the Duke of Anjou, as you can see, as you've seen for some time, no doubt, I'm the Duke of Anjou and Berry, but I'm only called the Duke of Anjou up here, the primary title, and that's probably because, like the Duke of Aquitaine was only Duke of Aquitaine. In the game, we have these abstractions of these sub-duchies, so the Duke of Aquitaine controlled Aquitaine, Gascogne, Bourbon, Poitou, and Avignon. This because if all that was one duchy, it'd be huge. And I'm still hostile to everyone. Well, I better hope I become king soon, because this will not be a game I continue for very long based on this bug. As I said, it's being fixed next patch, but can't come soon enough, really. So the Duke of Aquitaine held one piece of land. The fact that it's several duchies in game represents lots of different things. It represents that the land could split under Galvakind. It represents the fact that you could have sub-dukes underneath it. Yeah, sub-dukes if the land was ever split. Ah, now I can join. Excellent. And it also means that because the top title because your name just after your top title, your primary title, most of the time that works, but say the Duke of Aquitaine should only be known as the Duke of Aquitaine. However, it doesn't represent the fact that titles didn't get absorbed fully like that. So, for instance, you could be Duke of, let's say, Normandy and Duke of Brittany, because there were already separate states, sort of feudal realms that existed. And they'd probably exist separately with their own sets of laws and their own different governments, and only be absorbed after quite a long time. The same happens when you're king of multiple places. So when there's a personal union, let's think of a famous example like the kings of England and Scotland. England and Scotland existed as separate administrative places for quite some time before they joined, and a similar happened when there was the Kalmar Union between Norway, Sweden and Denmark, or in fact when there was the North Sea Empire under Knut, who ruled Norway, Denmark and England. They didn't stop being separate kingdoms, still had their own peoples, their own laws. So I have no idea how I'd model that in the game, that some titles would be considered separate and some would be considered the same, but just food for thought. I think especially happens when there's things of different levels. So the Count of Flanders, I think the Count of Flanders became a Duke of somewhere, or the Duke became a Count of Flanders, and he was referred to as both the Duke and the Count of Flanders because they were separate areas. And of course, same is true of the King of England. He was King of England, but he was also Duke of Normandy in France, and that was all that mattered in France. Especially as I think I mentioned earlier in earlier videos, that Normandy was considered slightly more prestigious and important. I have a daughter and a son. Well, I'm going to educate the son, even if I kind of hope he dies at some point. There we go. Is anyone I can marry? Start marrying him to the Duchess. Actually, I won't marry the Duchess of Provence because he will inherit. I don't really want to marry him to anyone because I want to just be able to take his land as soon as I become his brother. And kind of Machiavellian thinking that did tend to happen quite a lot. Can I educate my daughter as well? I can educate my daughter as well. Right. I think, given that last video was quite a long one, I'm going to cut this a bit shorter. I'm going to end this now. Ready for the Wonderful. Ready for the hopefully the next session, when again maybe I'll die this time. Certainly, hopefully I'll fabricate on Brittany at long last. I think I've been fabricating on Brittany for about 20 or so years now, on and off. So I'll call it now, and I will. You'll see me again at some point in the future, probably when you press a button saying play. Bye everyone.